Okay, welcome everybody to the first Modern Cup that we're running on the Xmage Leagues, on the Xmage Facebook page. We've got an 8-player tournament today, so I'm just going to be flicking in between matches. What I'm going to do, we'll jump right in here to Zach TS versus Felix Stenitzer. This is a modern tournament, so I'm going to be featuring different modern decks, and when these guys go to sideboard, I'll switch to somebody else. So we've got Zach on the bottom of the screen. He looks like he's on either is it or possibly a third colour. We'll have to wait and see. Felix at the top of the screen tends to play his Titan deck quite consistently. One thing interesting about this tournament, 8 players today, and 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 players from Europe playing in this tournament, and 2 from Canada. So it's a very international tournament to start us off for our first one. Just try and get a idea of what Zach is on here. There's no suggestion of the third color, so possibly just straight up, is it either blue red control, blue red or blue moon, as they call it, or no sign of Delver at this stage, as Felix just cycles a Sweltering Sun, so you don't see that in Modern too much. But importantly here, he's up to 5 lands, so he possibly has Scape Shift next turn. He's got a Prismatic Omen in play, so lands have every basic land type, but Zach bounces out and draws a card at the end of the turn with Cryptic Command. And Ghost Quarter could be handy here against Valakut if it's going to come down. And he's running the Prismatic Omen back out again, so now he's got the 6, and here's Escape Shift. So with Zach down at 18, this is match right here if Zach doesn't have a counterspell. He'll sacrifice. He can sacrifice as many as he wants. I'll read the card text. Sacrifice any number of lands, search your library for that many land cards and put them on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So he'll get the Valakuts as well as mountains to go with them, and generally speaking, from 6 cards, the Scapeshift deck can do 18 damage, which is what Zach is on at the moment. So we'll just confirm that, see what he gets. There they are, 4 Valakuts. He's going to get an absolute ton of triggers here, all going at Zach. You can just see them all piling up. 3 damage each time, so that's enough to probably kill Zach 5 times over, and Felix takes game 1. So just switching now, we'll go and visit Mr. Xenagos versus Imbuement. Mr. Xenagos, this is his first time featured on the video. This is Razvan Kazaku, who's joined us from Romania, I believe. And he's up against one of our regulars, Imbuement, which is Josh Grace, a Canadian. So we've got another international game going on here. Mr. Xenagos is on what appears to be a Jund build. And the top of the screen, Josh Grace is at Barnt Nightfall. Yep, so it looks like a collected company deck with Knight of the Reliquary. Just looking at what we've seen so far, I've got Lightning Bolt and Thoughtseize in the graveyard for Razvan, and an exiled Tarmogoyf. So the Noble Hierarch's important here because it means Liliana can't minus He needs 2 removal spells before he can minus Liliana to take down the knight. A lot to think about with only 2 cards in hand. And the normal Maelstrom Pulse will do the job here. Josh, of course, with no cards in hand, so... And now Razvan also has no cards, so Liliana can safely tick up. So the Dark Confidant's going to build his card advantage, but Josh, in an awkward position here, he's got access to 5 mana. And if he plays a threat, it's probably protected. Oh, Eternal Witness will be handy. What's he going to get back? Most likely either a removal spell or the knight again. Yeah, the removal spell, the Path to Exile. So he's going to get rid of the Dark Confidant, just prevent that card draw here. Not even going after Liliana, straight to his face here. Just for 1 damage though. And he finishes it off, the turn off with the path. Just so that he paths on his own turn, so that the Dark Confidant can't give Razvan a trigger on his own upkeep. So Razvan playing off the top of his deck now. Probably what is going in his favour is that Josh doesn't really have any pressure at this stage. Oh, and he draws a land for the turn. We might just switch back and see how Felix and and Zach are going here after sideboards. Well, it's a copy of the first match. We've got a Primeval Titan with a resolved Valakut again. You can see Zach is on down to 11 life, so every mountain that Felix pulls off the top of his deck is going to be a double lightning bolt. So he's just played another Valakut. Yeah, Zach down to 5. So Zach is dead to any mountain off the top here. Oh, he's going to fetch for Catacombs. So this one's over. So we'll go back to the Razvan's match. So we're back now with Razvan against Josh Grace. Josh still building his board, but still hasn't really found a decent threat. You can see Liliana was down to 2, so rather than have lose her for nothing next turn, he may as well take something with him, and he gets a Birds of Paradise. But Razvan here just desperate for anything off the top. Josh now, with that Eternal Witness and 2 triggers from Noble Hierarch, is going to make it a 4-4, and then the Knight is on top of that, so up to a 5-5. So this is actually a 2-turn clock. Puts him to 7. No, a 3-turn clock. So what can the Jund deck find to get itself out of this one? So Razvan needs something. So Josh has swung in here, so he's got lethal next turn.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, okay, go and get James, please.
I need to tell.
Hmm?
Can I tell you?
Yeah, so it looks like Josh is going to take game 1 here against Razvan, who's down to 2. He finds a Tarmogoyf, but unless he had some sort of damnation, I think there's no way out of this. He's probably just a bit unlucky in the first game, not having enough removal to deal with the threats, because Josh didn't have a hell of a lot on the board. And yeah, Josh takes game 1. As we switch over now to... This is a spicy brew for both sides. You can watch outside. Counterbalance and modern, and a smuggler's copter. So I've got no idea what's going on here. This is one of our new players to the league, Lorenzo Soma, aka Mr. Creek, up against one of our moderators, Will Escrow, at the top of the screen, Thriller 22. Some sort of a homemade spicy goblin brew here. But Lorenzo's got quite a presence on board. And a Sorrow of Temptation. So what's he going to gain control of? Probably the Goblin Fire Slinger. He's down to 8, but he looks to have stabilised the board with when Will's only got 2 cards in hand and a Solitary Goblin. And Smuggler's Copter's going to get some filtering done. I think if Will's on a mono red, he's probably a bit unfortunate, because against a mono blue, if he's got main deck Blood Moons, they're going to do nothing in this match. And here, you can see the Grimoire Thief is going to exile cards. Exiles the top 3 cards. And Smuggler's Copter is going to get him a loot as well. So it looks like Lorenzo's really in control of this first match. No attacks and nothing from Will. So he's down to 13 with 3 cards in hand. And what also makes this awkward is that spell skite sitting there. So Will's going to need two counter spells. Two removal spells in order to get anything off the board. This counterbalance, I don't really know how he's, without any sort of a divining top type effect, I don't know what use this has in modern. But again, I don't know this deck, so I'll assume Lorenzo knows what he's doing. Will down to 7, so he's facing lethal on board next turn. Or a Voracious Dragon. Plays Counterbalance, revealing Cryptic Command, which he can counter. I'm not sure what happened. Oh no, he played the Cryptic separately. Yeah, and so Lorenzo takes the game here. If we switch back now to an earlier match, because Felix has taken his match down 2-0. That was a 1-0 win to Lorenzo in the first match. Switch back to the match we were at before between Josh Grace on the Barnt Company deck up against Mr. Xenagos Razvan, who's on the Jun build. And here's a new card, Ruminap Excavator, which is the Crucible of Worlds in the main deck. So it looks like Josh here is on what they call the green-white value deck that Todd Stevens plays to great effect for Star City Games tournaments. This match is still early days though, because 5 cards in hand. 5 cards in hand for Razvan, so he can find plenty of answers. He plays a second Raging Ravine and fires it up. His concern here is that Ghost Quarter in play can be used again and again and again. So he'll fire up the Raging Ravine, but I'd suggest it's probably not long for this world, as Ghost Quarter will take it down next turn, and the Excavator can then play it straight back again from out the graveyard to take down the second Raging Ravine. So we'll see if that's a line that Josh is going to take here. Well, he's got a Zeusa now, so this match could be over. As we see a Zeusa, you can play 2 additional lands. So he'll play the Ghost Quarter, take down the Ravine. He can play the Ghost Quarter back again as his first land for the turn, take down the other Ravine, and then Zeusa lets him play it again. So you could potentially Ghost Quarter 3 times in a turn. And here comes the Ghost Quarter, and there goes the Ghost Quarter again, taking down the second Ravine. See if he wants to run it out a third time and get rid of the red source. He does. Is he going to go for it here? Yeah, he's going to take down the red. So no red source here for Razvan. And 4 damage about to come in. Josh already up a game here, so he'll take the match 2-0 if he can win this one. Okay, Razvan untaps. What can you do here? No red sources. Needs to get that Excavator off the board. Plays an Overgrown Tomb untapped. What's Lily gonna do? Fires an Inquisition here, so we'll get an idea of what's going on. There's a collected company in hand. 2 collected companies in hand. And a Sagada. He could play the Sagada next turn because he'll run out the foothills and he can play the additional land again. So very, very tough here. Nothing for the Inquisition to take. And even Liliana ticking up is not going to do much because he can just discard the... he discards a company. Okay, I was going to say he can discard the foothills and he can just keep playing it out of the graveyard. But he chose to discard a company. So Liliana will be dead here if he chooses to go at Liliana. He can also just attack Razvan to his face. Razvan's only got 1 card left and it's a 2-turn clock. Let's see what he chooses to do. Oh, he's going to play it safe first and get Liliana off the board. And here's the Ghost Quarters going after the... This will be a big test, see how many more basics Razvan has in his deck. He has none. So now these are these Ghost Quarters are just strip mines. He can play them twice more here, so he could get rid of all the black sources. And he can run out 1 more. Yeah, and there's the next one. So take down a black, and I think this one is over. We did see a he'll have collected company mana next turn. We could possibly see a Tarmogoyf would stem some of the bleeding, but with no black sources. He needs that Excavator gone, but he can't get it, so Josh takes that match 2-0. See what's still going. We'll switch back to this match here that we were featuring before. This is between Will Iskra at the top of the screen and Lorenzo Soma at the bottom of the screen. Lorenzo took game 1, so this is game 2. For the next round, we'll feature some of the players that we haven't seen this time. So certainly Wim de Kock and Joe Yudikovic, whose matches we haven't been able to feature yet. But I'll start with those two in the next round. Interesting land there, a holdout settlement. That's a common from Oath of the Gatewatch. One worrying trend that we saw in the last game here for Will, he's down to 1 card in hand. He does have Lorenzo down to 14, so he's winning the damage race, but he can't get damage in now unless he's holding a lightning bolt, because Lorenzo can just activate that smuggler's copter and block anything that comes in here. One thing I will say, kudos to both these players, is bringing something interesting. They've brewed something up that they're going to try and play with here. So we'll see. I don't think if he comes in, he could possibly force the activation of the copter, but no, that's probably a tell. He doesn't have the lightning bolt. And you can see here, this is a clever little double play from Lorenzo. He activates the smuggler's copter at the end of the turn because the Grimoire Thief exiles 3 cards from Will. So it's if you get bogged down, it's a very slow milling effect. Actually, this match looks like it has a little while to go, so we might just switch over and see if... I actually know Wim and Joe have finished. Who won that match? Boomerati. It looks like Wim took it down 2-1 after sideboard, so we're just waiting for this match to finish now. This is the last match of round 1. We saw the Sorrow of Temptation in the first round. It's going to take the same spell again, the Goblin Fire Slinger. So this is game 2 in round 1, and it's the final match to play in round 1. Oh, he chose just to take a normal goblin. Okay. Oh, okay. So he can, because the Fire Sling was already tapped, so he wants to get in with both here. Hurry this damage along. Well, he's not going to get in with both, so he's just going to chip away here, three at a time. Not really sure why that is, because the Grimoire Red does not have, as far as I'm aware, it does not have any flash. So Grimoire's kind of a free hit unless he's seen some sort of pump spell in the first game from Will. He discards Trick Bind to the Smuggler's Copter. That gives us a bit of an idea of what he's on a sort of a tempo plan here. You can see the Trick Bind, the Spell Pierce, and the Remand. So Will with 1 card in hand, what can he do here? Just why Will is... Okay, so this is the tournament is going to be for 3 rounds. Will feature 3 rounds of action. Both Josh Grace and Felix Sinitzer won their matches 2-0. Joey Dikovac, the third one, his 2-1. So if this match goes to a third game, it'll be Joe versus the winner of this. If it doesn't go to a third game, then I'm not sure how they calculate that. Will with 2 cards in hand, thinking what he's going to do here. Okay, so he's going to play Hordeline Outburst to get 3 goblins. Still holding that last card. It's not clear what it is at this stage. Oh, now we know it's a Goblin Grenade. So 5 damage. He can go at target creature or player, so he's chosen to go straight at Lorenzo's face. The Goblin Grenade is a sorcery speed, so it's not going to be able to get rid of the Smuggler's Copter. And there's no viable attacks here, so he's going to have to pass the turn. Will does have, Lorenzo has, there's the mill again at the end of the turn. Will does have 5 damage in the air. Fate Spinner. I have to zoom into all these cards because I'm not familiar with any of them. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the player chooses draw step, main phase, or combat phase. The player skips each instant of the chosen step. So we'll see if he's going to get a bit aggressive here. And no reason not to swing the sour this time. But he still doesn't swing it, so he's going to go to the slow burn to get this job done. He's going to put Will to 14. But Will, he needs to find something like a lightning bolt. Okay, it's at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. That player chooses draw step, main, or combat. That player skips that. So Will's chosen to skip his combat step, which probably makes sense at this stage. He has no viable attacks. Fate Spinner is a human wizard. Wizard is the last tribe that's been confirmed for the new commander decks coming out this month. Well, the Goblin Fireslinger is not going to get the job done. It's a 7-turn clock at this stage. Again, Will runs out his land. Phyrexian Metamorph. So he's going to have this as a copy of any artifact. I'd assume he's copying the Smuggler's Copter. He does have a free hit here with the Sour of Temptation. He's just probably wary of his life total at this stage. Okay, so he's going to copy that He copies a Sour of Temptation to take the Goblin Fire Slinger. So I suspect he's holding these back just to preserve the life total, but he can get in here with... Yeah, he can swing the Sour of Temptation with the Smuggler's Copter, and he still has 3 blockers back, so he does have a 3-turn clock. As he activates the Smuggler's Copter again. Yeah, so now he's made it a 3-turn clock. The other minor factor here is if Will can somehow pull this match out, Lorenzo's down to 15 minutes on time. But I don't think this match is going to go to time. It's hard to see what... I mean, if Lorenzo's tapped out, if Will does have an Anger of the Gods here, it would be very handy. But Lorenzo's still with 4 cards in hand. So again, the Fate Spinner trigger. What's Will going to skip this time? You'd assume it's probably his combat phase again, with no viable combat or no viable attacks to be had. Yeah, he chooses to skip his combat phase. So what's he going to draw? He's playing off the top of his deck here on a 2-turn clock. And another mountain. He fluffs again, and he's conceded. So Lorenzo takes the game 2 games to 0, and that concludes round 1.